Hey teams, Lauren here with BIZROK. In this week's video, I want to talk about experience, okay? Specifically the welcome area and what the welcome space looks like whenever our patients walk in. What do they see? What do they hear? What do they smell? What do they, overhear from other patients or team members? So, the welcome area is so important. It's the first impression of the practice. And some of you, depending on the type of location that you have, if you have a freestanding building or if you have a parking lot, if you're not in a skyrise, if you are in a skyrise, we all have different experiences, but really it even starts before the patient ever steps foot into the door. So what does the parking lot look like? What's the signage on the door whenever they're walking in, or the glass door whenever they walk through those? What is that experience like? What do they see? What do they hear? What do they smell? So I'm going to challenge you in this week. Front office team typically takes the job of ensuring that the welcome area is clean and spotless and things are replenished, but I actually want to expand this duty. Everybody is responsible to ensure that the practice has an amazing experience and that our patients are always welcome. So, throughout the week, whenever you have just a down moment, make sure that you're looking at the welcome area. You're saying, is there any trash on the floor? Do I see anything? Is there anything that needs to be picked up? Do we have, if there's tissues out in the waiting area, if there's hand sanitizer in the waiting area, if there's bottles of water, does it need to be replenished? And I know that's so silly, guys, but I've got to do a video on this because I have been in more practices than I can count, and I've walked in and I'm like, oh, I thought you guys said you supplied water. And they're like, oh yeah, we do. We ran out, 3 weeks ago and we haven't replenished. Okay, we should probably do that. Is there clutter in the welcome area? Are there 16 different business cards and brochures and community things? Which, guys, I'm not saying it's not a bad thing to support your local community and local businesses. I want you to do that. But I also don't want it to look cluttered and look like an advertising agency when your patient walks in. What's most important to our patient? Even our own services. Sometimes I've walked into dental practices and there's 10 different brochures for different type of services that we offer. What I'm going to encourage you is that less is more, and maybe on a monthly basis. Maybe each month we rotate the different services that we are sharing and publicizing to our patients. And that way we can have just a few pieces of marketing material and pamphlets and brochures out in the welcome area. So make sure it's a beautiful space. Look around every single day. Make sure that all of us are taking pride in how the practice looks and feels and smells, and say, gosh, guys, can we step up our A game? What do our patients see? And then I'm going to challenge you one more. What I would encourage you to do is every so often, maybe if it's just once a week, once a month, whatever you can commit to, but go and sit where your patients sit. Sit in one of the welcome chairs, sit in the welcome area, see what your patients see what they hear, how do they feel? How are they welcomed? Hear how other team members welcome them into the practice, and, just make sure that we're always providing an exceptional experience. Even down to, I know some of you have music or television, those are all great things, and it creates realness in the practice, and it gives something to do for the patient that's sitting there or having to wait for, a spouse or a family member to have some sort of work in the back. But make sure it's safe. You don't want to have maybe the news on or something negative on the television. Keep it positive. The cooking show is always a great one. It's safe. HGTV is always a good one. Just something that's fun. It's lighthearted. It doesn't have to, most people are willing to watch either the cooking show or HGTV. So those tend to be safe ones. Just always try to avoid the news. And then music, make it fun, make it your personality. The style practice that you have. I recently spoke to a practice and they were like, some practices have classical music. We're totally not a classical music type of practice. And I'm like, be you. If you want rock music, if that's what fits your personality, by all means, go for it. It needs to be you. It needs to be unique. Just make it fun. Make it for your practice, your team, and your patients. And then I'm going to challenge one more thing. So earlier I mentioned having waters. Some of you, I know with COVID happening, some of us took waters out of the welcome area. And some of us are like, do I offer waters? Do I not? Guys, what would you want? If you walked into a medical office, would you want to have either accessibility to water or at a minimum have somebody offer you a water? Of course you would. You know, at a minimum, when somebody comes in, whenever we welcome to the practice, just say, oh, Susie, you know, welcome to the practice. I've got all your information updated. Are there any changes with XYZ? We got that updated. And then just say, before you have a seat, can I interest you in a small bottle of water? You know, that's hospitality. That's truly serving your patients. That's taking care of them and showing them that, guys, we're unique. We are not like the commodities down the street. We are a unique dental practice. We love our patients. We serve our patients. And quite frankly, it's our pleasure that we get to take care of you. So think about special ways that you could go above and beyond for your patients. I've even had practices over the years that they've got a lot of elderly patients. And so typically what happens when one of their patients needs restorative work, a spouse usually will bring them. And so the spouse is sitting in the welcome area for 1 to 2 hours, sometimes even 3 hours. And so having snacks that you can provide for the spouse, guys, it is really, really sensational for you to do that. So put yourself in your patient's shoes this week, walk out, go sit in the welcome area, sit in one of the seats, see what your patients see what they hear, see what they smell, and just experience what type of exceptional experience you can have for your patients.